Dreamers with a plan.
Welcome to another session with Eagle Associates, Dreamers with a Plan. Today, you've heard of this Power Pack influencer before, and you're going to hear her again. We always are talking, but I want to take a step back, Coach Kelly, and just share a little bit of your background, because I don't think everyone knows the full background. And I know you're so grateful for your parents and the value of entrepreneurship that they gave you. And I know after you graduated the University of Massachusetts at Amherst and kind of moving out west, things changed. I know when you went out there to support yourself, you started Kelly's Catering with $100. $100.
$100.
And today I think about people complaining about doing business, right? But you started with $100 and your dishes was just so good, which you're going to have to do a recipe book, in my personal opinion, and stop hoarding all the good stuff. But it became so good and it got so much popularity. You had celebrities like Earth, Wind, and Fire coming to you and signing you on. I know you did something with Holly Berry for a film. So it was like you had good success, but you started to see early with that business model, that wasn't the type of business model that was going to help you to pursue your acting dreams. And that was when you had that conversation with your dad. And having that conversation with your dad to kind of just help educate you and understanding how true wealth is created through a true sustainable business model, that's when everything changed. And I remember you telling me, Kelly, that's what shifted your mindset.
Yep.
It was about helping others to achieve their best lives. So I know you're a second generation entrepreneur, and mentorship and instilling hope and encouragement in others has been your thing. It's not the thing of your purpose, but it's your passion. So I'm excited, Coach Kelly. Today, we're going to really dive into a lot, because everything we're going to be talking about today is what shaped you to where you are to now.
Absolutely.
It's that history lesson.
Yes, big history lessons. Welcome, everybody. And Malachi just gave you a brief overview. I was the kid with the lemonade stand. I was the one who would shovel snow, back in the day, being from New England, to make like $2. But my parents instilled entrepreneurship. And my hope today, when we're just going to have this chat about 2025 is the best time in history, you guys, to create wealth. Number one, to be mentored and coached. If you're willing to be educated, that everyone, because I've been taught by Myron Golden and his techniques, and this guy was the trash man. And I think Malachi, he made about 46 million last year. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Trash Man to Cash Man.
Absolutely.
This book is entitled.
When I started to study what he was talking about, I said, my purpose in life is how many people, how can I help you? Can I change the trajectory of your life? So I said, I'm going to teach exactly what I learned to be a blessing to someone that has an ear to hear. So that's where we're coming from. We're going to go on to the next slide. Jim is going to be our engineer today. And Malachi, we're just going to talk about, this is the perfect time to build wealth.
Yeah, it is.
Everybody within the sound of my voice, if they have an ear to hear, everyone within the sound of my voice, I'll tell you, in 2 years or less, if you're willing to be mentored and coached, right? There's a saying, you have to learn to earn. And if you're willing to learn what I'm going to drop out to you today and get some good mentors and coaches that are doing this, your whole life is going to change. You will leave a legacy to your children's children and enjoy your life real good here. Because we're going to talk about a history. People, history repeats itself. But history gets better and better, right, Malachi?
That's right. That's right. For those who understand it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The slide says today is the easiest time in history to create wealth, right? Yeah. Key factors: technological advancements, global markets, and low barriers to entry. Next slide. So Malachi, tell them your background and why I think you and we have these great conversations. We're both successful entrepreneurs getting ready to get to that 6 and 7 figure income. And so tell me about what you do and why wealth moves in cycles, right? Yeah. Tell us about that so we can educate people.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Coach Kelly. It's huge, right? Wealth always moves in cycles. And when you understand the different types of cycles that we're in, because those cycles, I call them the seasons. They're just like seasons. Right now, we're in winter. Next is going to be spring, then summer, then fall. They all recycle and they always repeat themselves. So you got to know about it. And for me, I really got into the financial industry to really learn it, right? I really had to understand it because I always heard about it. People talking about it. You got your family members talking about it, but they're not managing it. So how do you know about it if you're not in it? So I decided to get into it. And I know they always are talking about Bitcoin, stocks, real estate, commodities, and the S&P 500. And for those of you, I know a lot of people know what S&P 500 is, but it stands for Standards & Poor's. So it's the top 500 companies within the United States economy. And everybody's always want to invest in that. But Coach Kelly, you know what I say to people? Forget about investing in the S&P 500. Invest in the S&P U.
Yeah, invest in yourself. You're your greatest asset. Yeah. Because
the biggest investment that anyone is going to get is when they invest within themselves. Because when you invest in yourselves, you're going to get skill sets. You're going to get a mindset, which will then help you to get a tool set.
Yep.
And when you have all those three, what are you going to have?
Assets.
An asset, right? And what does income follow? Income follow assets. So you have to have those types of, to understand how wealth moves in cycles. You got to have that type of mindset and mentality and understanding where you're going to invest. Because now all the time they have some people out here talking about all these different things, but you know what? The S&P U 500 is the best way to go.
Absolutely. And what I love about cycles, I remember in the 1980s, I had a corner property in Pasadena. And I had people living in that property. But what happened is real estate was booming. And then your janitor became a real estate agent, right? It's like when stocks were booming and the cycles were, everybody left their jobs and the janitor now was a stockbroker, day trading. And it always collapses when all the regular people get in it and the system collapsed. I sold the property right before it collapsed, okay, in the 80s. And it was bad, right? Banks collapsed. It was a horrible situation. So it does move in cycles. Next slide, please. But what we're going to talk about today, we want to help you connect the dots about history. And we're going to start, like Myron Golden's rule is this: to understand wealth. And it blew my mind. To understand wealth, we must know the history, everybody, of wealth. We must avoid the failures of the past, right? Yeah. Right? Success has clues, right? Failures have clues, right? And then success, listen to this. Success equals learning. So if you're not willing to learn to earn, you're not going to have anything. You're going to be stuck in a rut to the day you die. And the difference between a rut and a grave is going to be the dirt in your face. So success equals learning. You got to learn. Plus you have to have the courage to act. I had so many opportunities over the years. I mean, I was doing MySpace back in like 1992 and I had a great following, right? And I should have stayed with it. I had some challenges that came, and trust me, I would have been 7-figure income today if I had stayed with it. So all of us, everyone within the sound of my voice, God or the universe has come to you, given you an opportunity, and for whatever reasons, we didn't stick with it. So today, my hope is you all get it. And this is going to only be part one. And it should be so tantalizing from what we shared today that you come back on, what did we say we're going to do the next one? It's going to be on the
February 10th.
February 10th. So write that in your calendar because we're giving you guys the keys to the kingdom now. All right, next slide, please. So we're just going to have some fun. And then after the end, we're just going to bring you guys in and ask what you got out of this. It's not going to be long. What is wealth? What is wealth, Malachi? You were just sat and talked about it. It's you.
Yeah, it's huge, right? A lot of times, you know, and you and I talk to so many individuals, Coach Kelly, and a lot of times people are just so focused on the monetary aspect or thinking about money, like how much money am I getting or what am I getting from that? Wealth is created by adding value to others. So it's like if you want your income to increase, you got to ask yourself, how many people can I add more value to? And you can start as simple as your neighborhood. If you look at one block, if there was 5 houses on each side of the street on that block, that's 10 families. Add value to those 10 families. Then once you add value to those 10 families, find 40 more families to add more value to. Now you have 50 families. Once you get to that and it's something sustainable, add on 50 more. So now you had 100 families. I would say this, that entrepreneur right there, Bill Britt said it best. How many people will be better off because you lived?
There you go.
Is true sign of wealth. Because you put others first and you added value to them. That's what wealth is. That's wealth.
And I totally agree, right? Because we're so used to the work to home to work, work to home to work. We stuff our true purpose deep down in our gut because we're trying to make a living. We're trying to make a living in an old paradigm that does no longer work in 2025, guys, at all. And you're going to understand that, right? Next slide, please. We're going to talk about lessons from history. And if you guys start to get a hold of what we're talking about, I'm going to tell you, your best is so yet to come. So let's just talk about the agricultural age started from the Garden of Eden, farmers tilled the land, to the 1750s. We weren't even thought about, right? Right? We weren't here, but look it was rough way back then, guys. People now it's so hard. No, man, it was hard, Malachi.
Yeah.
It was hard back there. But what was wealth back then? Land equaled wealth, right? But in order to have great wealth, you had to have a lot of acres. And then if you had great wealth, then you had the servants and you had the peasants work the land. But what was tough is like they had to use a spoon or these primitive tools to break up the land, right? And the land was seasonal, right?
Exactly.
And it was tough back then, storms, you had coyotes, you had no lions and tigers. That's another continent. That's a continent. They had to really work hard, man. And they got rich really slow, Malachi.
Very slow.
Look at the pictures below, guys. Malachi, you talked about how many babies did people have back then and why?
Back then it was easy to have a family and have 6, 8, 10, 12, even 15 children. And it wasn't because of, I want these children. It was made out of necessity because they needed more hands on deck in order to be able to survive. So they had to work. Nonstop.
24/7, man. But the key here, I want you to understand this. Let's talk about ownership. In the agricultural age, the ownership is the key, right? If you owned something, that gave you a passport, right, to a better life. If you were born into landowners, you have the chance of becoming wealthy. But let me tell you, back in that agricultural day, people were gangster men. So if they had bigger guns or they had bigger things, they would come over and they would take over your property, Malachi, back then.
Yep.
Right? Crazy stuff, guys. Right? And they died young. Listen to this. They died young. So what do we learn right now? Ownership is the key. The agricultural age took thousands of years for them to figure out how to become profitable in the agricultural age. Anything you want to add to that, Malachi?
Well, you can think about it, right? And I know we taught this before and talked about this some time ago, Coach Kelly. The 4 levels of leverage, right? Collaboration, capital, code meaning system, and content meaning branding and media, right? Those are the 4 levels. But in the agriculture age, they only used 1 level, which was collaboration. So it was just people. They just had people. That's the only leverage that they had, which when they only used that, that's the reason why they were getting rich slow. Because they only used that one way. I mean, they got rich.
Had the barter. Yeah, sorry, but they had the barter system.
Yes.
You know, you got an apple, I'll give you an orange, right? And the servants and the peasants, they never left the farm because at least they had food to eat. They didn't own it, but they had food to eat. Wow, man. So that's why life expectancy was, low. They died early, limited medical, and it was just a grind. It was hard labor. So just remember that. They got rich slow. I want you to understand this, guys, as we learn from history what's really the deal. So, Jim, let me see that next slide, because this is going to blow your mind. I want to thank Samaya for putting these slides together. She's amazing. Yes. So where are we at now? Oh, my goodness, guys. Now, we're going to bump it up now. We go from 1750 to 1950. The new age comes in. It's called the industrial age, y'all. Somebody was working the farm. Malachi, they couldn't put 2 nickels together. They were living on somebody else's farm. And that's how you get the name landlord, because they couldn't afford a home. So they had to stay on the farm. And somebody said, man, my back is hurting. I can't keep bending down to do. And they came up with a machine, Malachi. And so voila, y'all, we got the industrial age movement sprung up. Now look at that primitive machine, right? Look, it's primitive. But that was spreading the seeds out faster, right?
Yep.
Right? So the farmers are like, woohoo, happy, right? Because they're like, oh my God, this has changed the game. We can make money faster. We can grow faster crops, and our livestock will grow faster, right? So what does the industrial age mean? It means the age of machines. Listen to me, right? Now, what is ownership? The ones who own the machine, and these were the peasants, now had an opportunity to create wealth. Before, it was just the farmers, you all, right? So the machines equaled what? Mass production. Watch this. The titans of the industry, and these were broke folks, created empires. It's like this. Whatever you believe in, that's good. But God created man, right? God said, Malachi, I created man in my own image. So what does that mean for you and I? In each and every person on the universe, God drops creativity in us. But it's so dormant because we're so used to what happened in the industrial age model. People left the farm. They were like, I'm going to move to the city. I'm going to move to the city and get a job and I'll make more money. So they moved to the city. Why? Because of the machines. Factories started to spring up all over the United States. Started actually in England. And then it came to the United States because, we had the British are coming and that was New England and stuff, right? But what was bad about that? People were like 8 years old. Look at the children's faces, man.
Yeah.
Did you see those kids, Malachi?
I see them.
They left the farm and they said, Mom, Dad, I'm out of here. And they left and they were working in factories. There was no labor law. And they would work 12, 14 hours a day, man, in the factories. Women started to go to work in factories, right? But what was the lesson? Creativity, right? Creativity, the ones that said, man, I'm tired of using the spoon to dig up the dirt.
That's right. Let me find some leverage.
Find some leverage. There you go. So creativity plus success plus systems, and every era has a system. And in the industrial, agriculture age, the system was using people. That was all they had.
That's all they had.
That's all they had, man. And that's why they were dying like flies. Now we go to the industrial age. Now we got machines. So that's how, Malachi, you want to add something? I want to look something up. You want to add something?
Yeah. It's like, when I think about that industrial age and how it was, and I look at those kids, it just really makes me think of my mom's side of the family. Because Coach Kelly, I think I might have shared this with you before, but they were sharecroppers. Right. And to me, I always looked at sharecroppers almost in like the early sense of an entrepreneurship, in this sense where at the end of the day, they were on someone's land. They had to work the land in order to be able to stay on the land and live on the land. And then that's how they got their food, and anything of excess, they could sell it so they can have more. But, Coach Kelly, my mom, she stayed back 4 different grades. And this is the reason. She couldn't go to school unless it rained bad, because her and her siblings had to be out there working. And it was 10 of them.
Yeah.
They had to work it. They had to work the machines. They had to. Right? So it was huge back then.
I have someone listening right now. Her name is Virgie. Virgie's, I think, 82 or 83. She had all sisters, and they lived on the farm, and they prayed for a boy because even though the dad loved his girls, he worked them like they were men, right?
Yeah.
So, and so let me just read this. Ownership, owning or creating machines became the new source of wealth. Understand this, guys. Expanding opportunities beyond land and ownership. The rise of factories and mass production led to significant economic growth in the emergence of the new industries. You got the Carnegies, right? Yep. You got all these guys that were broke.
Fords,
right?
Rockefellers.
Rockefellers, right? All of these people became the super rich because they used their creativity. They had to solve a problem, in which they did. And both the agricultural age, they came up, but the people that owned the machines, they really came up. And they call it, and I like that Myron shared this. He said this was called the permission age. You know what I mean by that, Malachi, when I say permission age?
Yeah, you had to get permission in order to actually be creative or to share your creation. Like if you wanted to share something, you had to ask. Could you believe that?
Yeah, I could, because look if you were a great singer and you went to Motown, and Motown owned the machines. Now, listen to me.
That's
Motown,
true.
very good. He said, no, we're not looking for your type. And he did that. Why? Today, I can take out my phone and, I can start to sing or whatever and get a following and make millions of dollars. But back in the industrial age business model, if you were a publisher and I had a great book, Malachi, I would have to go beg the publisher, please publish my book. We don't have to do that today, Malachi.
No, we can make a book in 5 hours.
Yeah. I can use AI. That I don't even want to get there yet, guys, because we're going to get there, how wealth is created. But I'm an author. And I didn't have to ask anybody. So this was the age of permission. We had the Sony studios. That's where one of my first accounts came from. I knew a lot of secretaries, Malachi. Secretaries run the show in any industry. They know everything. And I had a lot of friends that were in that industry. And I made a French dish. My mom and dad were successful entrepreneurs. We had a German cook, limousine, chauffeur driver, Lamborghini. I went to the best prep school in the United States. My mom cooked great. My uncles all cooked. So I love to cook. So when I came out to LA to be an actor, I was like in corporate America, and I'm like, I can't go on auditions. But I said, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I took that $100. The next, I brought a signature dish that's why you got to have a dream and know how to solve a problem. People use excuses that I don't have money. And that's an excuse. You just got to have a big enough why and a dream and solve some problems. So I went to like 5 studios. The next day I get a call from the property manager of all the Godfather movies. And he said, I just happened to be. I'm like, no, opportunity open for me because I was open to understand the game. And he was like, I'm doing a movie with Halle Berry. I forgot the other actor's name. Would you like to be on the set? I said, sure. He said, we'll pay you $1,000, $2,000 a day. I was only going to be the food stylist. I set up the whole kitchen there. Before I knew it, they fired every other craft service and everybody said, can you take over the whole set? They loved your food. But it was a job because I couldn't go on auditions. I was working like it was still a job, 14 hours a day. Earth, Wind, and Fire, I got free concerts because everybody wanted Kelly's Catering, but I bought a job. And so that is not how we can create legacy.
No.
We have to be creative and use our gifts and our purpose to do what we have to do. So look, the industrial age came. It was an age of permission. Why did I say that? Because the studios back in the 1950s, Marilyn Monroe came and they just absolutely loved her. So the studios let her in, right? But during that day, very few Black folks were able to break through. Latinos couldn't get into the studios because they needed permission. Wow. Right? So, but that was the industrial age model of more people became very wealthy because of the creativity, but it wasn't for the masses. The masses got a job, guys. They started retirements. High school started back there. They didn't really have big labors because a person could work, but they could be at the factory 20, 30 years. Something happens, they leave, or they're right near retirement, they would get fired. Kinds of sounds like things that are going on in America today.
Right about it.
Right. That's why we're right, Malachi, right now to produce thousands of millions of entrepreneurs right now, but you can't miss it. Let's move on to the next slide, guys. I hope you're understanding history. When you understand history, things will change. So now, from the industrial era, we hit the distribution era. So what did we learn? It was thousands of years, right, Malachi?
Yep. It was from 0 to 1750.
Okay.
That was our agriculture age.
Right.
And then from 1750 to 1950, that was our industrial age. Time is getting shorter.
Yeah.
I know math, and I'm not the best mathematician, but that's
shorter. You have a firm, you know math.
That's shorter. That's a short time span. So time is getting condensed on how long these ages are lasting.
So people are making money faster. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And every age now is benefiting from the era before. That's why you got to understand history. And if you don't understand history right now, when it's the easiest time, and you're procrastinating, you're going to miss having a lifestyle of your dreams and changing your life. So now here we are in the distribution age. It's called the emergence of malls and outlets in the 1950s. Why, Malachi? What happened? With the industrial age model, the factories were cranking out goods and services. Right?
Like clockwork.
There were warehouses of dresses and lipsticks and automobiles and just a surplus. Supermarkets began to spring up, right? They started to get suburbs, right? People started to leave the city, right? In the distribution age, right? So what happens? Supermarkets pop up. Who gets blessed?
All those farmers.
Farmers get blessed.
They started getting so blessed because of that. They got a bigger outlet to sell to.
Absolutely. Their network became their net worth. Why? Because of technology, you guys. It progressively changed and more people could create a debt-free cash flow lifestyle by being creative. So now we have supermarkets, so the farmers are all happy. Then we have malls and factory outlets. So now the people that own the malls and the factory outlets, they're becoming liquid. Innovation, things are changing, guys. Next slide, please. You gotta understand the ages that we're at. Look at that. Look at the factories, man. They were crowding the people in these factories. Could you imagine? Man, what do you call it? What do you call it, Malachi? What is it? What kind of shop?
Sweatshop. Yeah,
Sweatshop.
I call them the sweatshop.
Sweatshop, man. Wow.
They were packing them in there.
Yeah, they were cranking out. Look at all the clothes they were cranking out. But these items were sitting in warehouses. So out of necessity, somebody that owned that warehouse, who owned the land, remember the landowners,
that's right,
create wealth. They said, you know what? They're paying rent, right? But now let's go to another level. Let's open up outlets and stores and dealerships, and all these things started to open. So now they can take all that mass production that they got in the industrial age, bring it into the distribution age. More people are making money, but let me just say this. I forgot to even talk about education. We didn't even hit on this. In the industrial age, college degrees were wealth, because you have people coming from the farms into the factory settings, and the owners would begin, if they saw something in you, to run their business, because they needed good employees. I call them slaves. I was a slave even being an entrepreneur, because I didn't have time. I had money, but I had no time. And so the owners of these factories, Malachi, would say, hey, listen, you're doing great. I'll send you to college for 4 years. So that's when a degree was worth something.
That's right. And you know what, Coach Kelly, that's when it started with the whole saying of be good in school, get good grades.
Yep.
So you can go to college and get a degree. And now you don't have to just work in the factory. You can manage in the factory or manage the factory.
Absolutely. They used to say, get a good job. I'm like, ain't that an oxymoron? A good job? You know, I don't care if you make 6 figures on a job. That means they bought your soul. There's 2 types of people, right? Time and no money. The second type of person has what? Money and no time.
No time.
So here we are in the distribution age, right? Happy days are here again, right? They had the malls and outlets. In fact, we went to a family reunion in 1980, the day the Mall of America opened. I hated malls, right? But we were there. I mean, they had roller coasters. I've never seen a mall like this in my life. But the growth of the outlet malls in the 1980s were manufacturers consolidated their discount offerings in a centralized location. So what does that mean? That was from 1950 to what year? 1978? 1980 approximately, probably 1980. Yep. But what does that mean? It only took 2 decades now.
2 decades. 2 decades. That's it.
For people who were in the know, that saw what was happening, they saw the signs of the time, and they said, man, I'm going to get a supermarket. Oh, man, I'm going to open up an outlet.
An outlet?
Right? Yeah.
And you know what? It was franchises happening then too.
Absolutely. McDonald's.
It was huge.
Yes. Yes, 12,500 to get your first McDonald's franchise. People were like, no, because
they couldn't afford it.
They couldn't even see it. They didn't see the opportunity. That was the key, Malachi, because nobody went out to eat back then. You ate once in a while. If you went out to eat, it was a very special occasion. People got all gussied up and dressed up. So they said, no, I eat hamburgers and milkshakes and French fries at my mom and my aunties. They couldn't see the vision. Just like now, what's happening in 2025, people are clueless. They're clueless. And that's where you and I are coming in. If we could just help a few people to understand, your life can change, but it has to start in your mindset, right?
That's right.
So what did we find out? Machine age, they owned the machines, that created the wealth, right? Agricultural age, you owned the land. You know, you got rich slow, but you had the possibility of creating wealth. Now we're in what? We're in the outlet age, and the retailers' expansions create wealth. Unbelievable. What else? Who else was creating wealth back then? In the 1950s and 1978. Next slide, please. Oh, I like to talk about Walmart. Sam Walton started Walmart. Right?
Sam Walton was huge.
He was huge. Sam Walton was so intelligent that I don't even want to get ahead, because right after this age comes the tech age. And Sam Walton was so cutting edge
before anyone even thought about it.
He was like, let me talk to IBM. I don't even want to talk about it because we're going to talk about it next time. Because he needed to get what? He needed to track all his inventory. So
and people think Amazon, Jeff Bezos started it.
Yeah. He had to go back to the machine age.
Exactly.
Billions of dollars. You don't ever hear about the Walmart family. You hear about Jeff Bezos and Elon, but the Walmart, they understood it. Now, so during the 1950s to 1978, network marketing became on the rise, right? Yes. Network marketing allowed people to earn income by selling products directly. This stuff was huge back then. To consumers while recruiting others to do the same, creating a team-based income structure. Next slide. What did the distribution age have in common? People wanted to be entrepreneurs.
Completely. But then even with that, Coach Cully, what really spawned this out for the network marketing to come up is because people couldn't afford to do the other businesses. Yeah, they couldn't afford to buy a mall.
Yeah.
They couldn't afford to have an outlet. Yeah. Some couldn't afford to get the grocery store. Yeah. And then we knew some people, they weren't catching on about McDonald's or KFC. They weren't catching on to it, but they couldn't afford it. So network marketing made it enabled so many families.
Absolutely. Wow.
To get a piece.
During that time, they were like full of brush. Shackley, I think there was Amway Global. A1 selling door to door, and they were making money, man. People were moving to the suburbs. It was the boom. It was the economic social trend. But what was it really? Especially people, women sought flexible income so they could stay home and raise their children. But what was the common thread is people have a burning desire to do for themselves and be an entrepreneur. They just don't know what to do.
Just don't.
Move on. So I move on to the next slide. Oh my God. So people got fired up. They were knocking. I would never knock on any boy's door today. I'm like, hi. And I know there's some knife companies that still do that, but
I remember they had Vector, people with the Kirby.
The vacuum cleaner.
The vacuum cleaner.
Isn't that crazy? But you know, when a person has a dream, right? They'll go to the 9 for that dream, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
They'll do whatever it takes.
But you know, next slide, please. So network marketing began to boom, right? The baby boomer generation, right? Families needed more household products, health items, consumer goods, creating a perfect market for multi-level marketing companies offering these products. Malachi, were you getting ready to say something?
I talked about this a lot. The biggest generation that runs everything are the baby boomers. I mean, everything follows them. Gerber became profitable because of the baby boomers.
Yeah.
McDonald's, KFC, the reason why they were profitable because of the baby boomers.
Bill Gates.
Real estate became real estate, like a realtor. When realtors first started, they thought it was a scam to be a realtor.
Yeah.
Until baby boomers came around, and when baby boomers in their 20s, some who were starting their families and buying homes who could afford it, they did, but most of them did when they were in their 30s.
Wow.
And people became real estate agents, made so much money.
Killed it.
Because of the baby boomers.
Yeah.
They ran everything, and they still do. I'm not going to take it away.
We still run the show. I go into Trader Joe's, and everybody's like in their 19s and 20s, but they're jamming to my music and my generation. But the bottom line is this, and even today, network marketing, it's the $1 trillion industry. People are still killing it. In fact, people are now using 2025 technology, which I'm going to talk on our next podcast. Guys, make sure you come in. It's on February 10th, and put it in your calendar, and you're going to learn something about 2025. If you listen and learn and apply the knowledge, your life will change. If you don't, that's on you. I still love you. Hey, maybe we'll have a cup of coffee, but you know what? I'm 6-7 figure income bound, y'all. Why? Because we understand history. Next slide, please. And we're almost done. Oh, God, you know I always like kicking in the house, Carissa. It's back in the cutest little baby boy. How old's Kai?
Kai is 14 months now. 14.
And Malachi said when Kai gets old enough, he's going to be out there shoveling snow because I shovel snow. I have kids there. Kids don't do that.
He's going to be out there shoveling snow, and then we're going to buy him 30 shovels so he can get all the other kids to shovel for him while he gets these contracts for all the other people in the neighborhood. Oh, he's going to start entrepreneurship early. He's going to learn.
Call him a boss, right?
That's
boss, right? So entrepreneur spirit, you know, the 1950s saw a rise in suburban living, which facilitated close-knit communities ideal for direct selling, relationship-driven markets. And I'm going to tell you something, when we talk about 2025, even though it's about technology, guys, it's always going to be about relationships. I just dropped a nugget on somebody. If you're going to have a great business, yeah, we got bots. I hate getting on the phone to call customer service. Sometimes you just want to throw the phone. Then you're like, no, I'm not throwing my iPhone, because you're like, can I just speak to a live person?
A real person.
A real person. So relationships are never going to change through every era, but you still got to be on time. Next slide, please. We're going to wrap it up, guys. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you got something out of it. I got something out of it big time. If anything, I excited myself, Malachi, because I know when I talk to people out and about, I just try to encourage them. Look, guys, this is where it is. Get your mind right. So 1978 to 1994, techno age, the rise of technology. What do you want to say, Malachi, about this?
This right here was the huge age. This is where our Bill Gates, this is where our Steve Jobs, Wozniak, all those guys right here. And technically, they started a little bit before 1978. They started really in the 60s.
You got to start ahead of the game. I know.
They were the head of the curve. They were ahead of the game. And most people didn't know that. Right. But once they got to 1978, they were already ready to take off.
Right.
And then everybody understood.
Yes.
They understood history.
They did. Because the people after them wanted to all become programmers, and it was too late.
They already had cornered the market.
Yeah, they missed the party. They missed the techno party. They missed it. And if people play around, they're going to miss 2025.
They are.
They're going to miss it. You cannot play anymore, guys. Applied knowledge is power. People read books all the time, and yes, but are you applying the knowledge, right? Yeah. So look, the techno age, like he said, I graduated from the University of Massachusetts in 1978. In 1977, I love computers. See, this is where I missed it. I was missing it. And I knew, I was like, one day, man, people are going to be rich from online, and I could see it. But I missed it just through life stuff, having to pay the bills and stuff. Opportunity was coming to me, but I was like, nah. Like I said, I had a MySpace page. Every Monday I had followers, and I was like, didn't get it. And here you guys, we're kicking you the knowledge now, right? We're kicking that you do not want to miss this. Because just as the industrial era, say that word for me.
Microsoft?
No, it said just as the industrial era mechanized labor, the techno age digitized it. Same thing. Next slide, please. Oh, man. I'm so excited.
Did you just notice that, though?
No,
1978 to 1994? That was 16 years. That was less than 2 decades.
Wait a minute. It went quick now, right?
It went quicker.
Oh, baby.
We just left from 1950 to 1978. That was 2 decades, close to 3.
Yep.
But then this one right here, 1978 to 1994.
Amazing.
It's shrinking.
Yeah, time is speeding up and it's shrinking. The time is shrinking. Just like now, I tell people 2025, you got 2 to 3 years to put your thing together and be right now looking at what is the next thing, which is AI.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is AI.
And we're gonna talk about that one.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that because I was looking at a stock today. It's a Chinese stock. Oh, what is it called? Drop Geek. I wrote it down, but the stock came out of China today. Something came out of China about it, and it's crashing the U.S. AI businesses right now. Stock dropped, Malachi, because of this new company that came out. So techno age, the rise of technology. Look at the picture. 1978, when I was in college learning computers, they were huge. 2025, that's how business is. It's right in your hand.
Right in the hand. Everything in the palm.
Right in the palm.
Everything. You don't have to have a brick and mortar anymore. You don't have to have a brick and mortar. You can just have everything in the palm of your hand.
It's right here.
And it's that simple.
Yep.
You can do everything from there.
Yep. You just got to know how to put it together because there's elements to success. Success has clues. We got one more slide. Guys, I'm so happy. Join us for our next podcast.
February 10th.
February 10th. Write it down. Make sure the person that invites, say, I want to be there. Invite some more people because we want to share the knowledge, man. Myron Golden, I got the knowledge from him, right? I'm going to share the knowledge, right? And that's where the blessing is. From history to opportunity, why 2025 is the perfect time to build wealth. Thank you for viewing, and we're going to just wrap it up. Anybody, unmute yourself. Did anybody get at least one nugget that you can share with us before we leave? One nugget. Anybody, one nugget. Don't shout me down.
One nugget. Wealth is created by adding value to others.
Thank you. Absolutely. Anybody else? One nugget. I don't think we did a good job. Nobody has any more.
I had the same nugget. I had the same nugget that Helen had.
Oh, you had the same nugget that Helen had. Okay, thank you.
I had the same one too.
Okay, same one.
Don't miss out on this opportunity because life and time does not stop.
Time does not stop. You better get it. You better get to going. All right. Anybody else? One nugget before we get out of here.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Time to grab it. I would say to study the time so you can be equipped and ahead of time. So when the patterns change, you can be, aligned so you can win.
Absolutely. Jamaica, she has a beautiful jewelry company. And you got to know what's ahead. You got to know what's ahead. And we're going to break that down to you in our next podcast. Yes. And then I'm doing a podcast with another gal out of Massachusetts. She started her company. It's a design company. And she started using the technology that we're going to talk about next time. And she did it within 6 years. Now she's on different TV shows. 6 years, a design company. She designs cruise ship rooms and cabins and stuff. People's businesses, people's homes. Why? Because she used the technology that we're going to teach you. Jim Watson, you got a real quick?
Oh, yeah. In reference to the S&P is me. Oh, good. S&P is you.
Yes.
Today we work 9 to 5 for the man, but I work 5 to 9 for me.
Good. That's how you got to do it. I like that. I tell people, find a business so you can pay your bills, but get a mentor that's going to teach you the technology.
That's right. Because
its mentorship is crucial. One more, Samaya. We're out of here. Samaya did the videos today.
Yes. We learned today the success is by learning and take the action and have the courage for it.
Yes, and have the courage. Yes, courage. We don't have a spirit of fear, none of us, but love, power, and a sound mind, and we have the power to gain wealth. So I just want to thank everybody for stopping by. Guys, you should be fired up. Get a piece of paper and pencil out. Write down what is you want, and you better go get it. And don't use lack of money as a reason. I started a catering company with $100. I made $2,000 a day. $100, y'all. But what is going to stop you is your mindset. I'm going to recommend a book. Go get it. Right? Mindset by Alice DeWitt. Because when you change your mindset, how you think, right? When you change how you think, right? You can get what you want to get. Right. And find a mentor. It's been so much fun. Guys, you guys were perfect angels. Carrie, good to see you all. We're going to say we love you. And don't let anybody steal your dream. And you better go get your money. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
Bless you guys. Bye-bye.